Welcome. Evil DM's the name, Oriental Adventures is the game. Today we're going to be talking about the Wugen class and all the wonders of that class. Just going to give you a rundown of that class. So turn to page 24 of the Oriental Adventures Guide. So the Wugen is basically the magic user equivalent of the Oriental world. They basically, I like to think of them as the first type of sorcerers that were actually put into real play, so to speak, that weren't in a dragon magazine or something in an official book. Because of the way they're built, they're kind of like the first sorcerers. But anyway, they've severed all their ties to their family and do not roll on the family charts or birthright stuff because they're on their own. Only Oriental humans, Kobarukus, Henjokai, and spirit folk may be Wojen. Those are the only ones. They're never lawful and have the reputation of being rather crazy, so they're more chaotic than anything else. Partly due to the hermetic-like separation from society, and partly due to the taboos that they acquire, which require them to do really odd things, and we'll talk about that in just a moment or so here. Their magic varies. And because when they learn their magic, they're learning the elements of magic. So as they grow in power, they learn elemental magic and they get bonuses for that. Their prime requisite is intelligence, which must be 13, but a 15 gives them a 10% bonus to experience points. They do get a D4 hit points like their magic user counterpoints, but they also get a bonus of +1 extra HP per level on top of the normal constitution bonus, so actually, it's 1d4 plus 1 every level, plus any constitution bonus that you would get. Since they are considered magic users, so to speak, they do have the same saves and the same combat matrix and everything, so you just don't have to worry about that. Use the same thing. As far as weapons, you aren't really restricted as much as a magic user would, and you get to pick from a more variety of weapons. Of small melee weapons, I should say. Martial art based ones, which is always good, and a few missile based ones, and you're allowed some ninja weapons as well. Even though it might be risky to use those weapons, because remember, ninjas are secret, and they're ghosts. So if samurais or something spot you using those weapons, it's like they're going to be totally all over you, ready to kill you. Things like that. You can't use any armor or shields regardless. You begin with 6 proficiency slots, and if one of them is your weapon, you consider it your chosen weapon of choice if you want. You don't have to, but it suggests you do. And you get a bonus of +1 to hit with that weapon, or that type of weapon, for the rest of your character career. When it comes to spells, they work slightly different than your normal magic user, which are used to the slots here. And you can see right here, we do have a bunch of the Wugen spells here, and you only get 1 spell at first level. Now, you're allowed to travel with 1 spell and have a very, very restricted chart, as you can see. The book goes on to describe when you go over the list of spells you know, it means you know of that spell. And you must have someone teach you said spell. If you know about it, you can only know 1 spell, and you can only memorize the 1 spell. Once someone teaches you other spells, then you can memorize other spells. It's kind of a weird system, but it does make sense because it is a sorcerer-like class more than a magic user-like class. So you are essentially learning it and using your innate abilities of elements to harness those powers to cast your spells. You have the ability to meditate starting at level 1, in which you draw yourself into a restful state, which is like a power nap or a power sleep. So for every hour that you do this, you get double the amount of sleep. So if you meditate for an hour, it's like you rested or slept for 2 hours. So that's why I call it a power nap or a power sleep. You can do this and be fully aware of everything in your surroundings, and instantly react to any of your surroundings without any penalty. So guess who gets to do watch guard duty all night long? This guy. Well, most of the night. This guy would be your perfect watch because he can meditate while sleeping, also know what's around him, and boom, react instantly to whatever's around him. So it's actually really perfect. At level 1, the Wugen has a key power that he can use once per day to give himself +3 to initiative per 1 round. only once around. So at level 4, he gains the ability to maximize a spell that is 3 levels lower to him, allowing him to cast if it was a level 4 spell. So it's the first look instance of a maximized thing. I think we started seeing that in 4th edition and 5th now. Maximizing slot spells, things like that. This is kind of the early days of that, I should say. Wujen spells fall into elemental groups, like I was saying. There are 5 elements, and it's earth, air, water, and nature, wood. But it's not easy to master all the elements. To master these elements, you have to be able to know and learn all the spells related to that element. So basically, you're not mastering anything until you get to your higher level classes, which will allow you to cast level 9 spells. But as long as you know the spells. But the book does say that if you learn all the spells that you're able to learn, you do master it and become master of the element. But if you level up and have the ability to have more spells, then you have to go find those spells, losing your master element. So essentially, you could technically be a master of one of the elements at lower levels. I guess it's really up to the DM's interpretation on that one. Starting at level 10, the Wujen will start attracting students that want to study under him, basically followers, and learn from his wisdom and learn by his side. They will serve him faithfully and be at his side until they reach at least half the level of the Wujen. Then they will go off on their own journey into their own world and bid him adieu. They receive a 20% bonus reaction to, I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong, Tenju and Oni, as they speak their language and they have studied them, so they're versatile with them. These spirits, they know how to act with them, so they get a little bit of a bonus when it comes to interacting with them. Not that these spirits are going to be like, hey, want to have dinner tonight? These things are mostly just going to attack things. So, but I mean, there's a 20% chance reaction bonus for him, so why not? The Wujen does have some weird rituals they must follow in order to maintain, or so they believe, to their connections starting at level 1. They pick one, and then they pick another one every 5th level. They say that if you do violate these said taboos, it can result in a temporary spell loss or random spell failure. The list is only a suggestion, and the DM and the player can work together to find a happy medium, or the DM can basically say, you know what, this is what you get. Too bad it's my game. The list of things that you can do are here. Like, well, it's only a suggested list, of course, but you cannot eat meat. You can have more treasure than you can carry. I mean, these are some simple things. You cannot bathe. I mean, I had a campaign many years ago. Well, maybe it wasn't a campaign, but it was a short gaming set. No, it was 10 sessions that we played the game, and it was Oriental Adventures, The Legend of Fin Fang Foom. It's on rollhigherdie.com. You could find that still from 2012 area, 11, I don't know. But we had run that campaign, and one of the players was a Wujen, and his was could not bathe. So he basically played that up as that he really stunk, so why not? Cannot sit facing to the east-north, things like that. Players should pick the taboo for his character. If he suggests a suitable new taboo, the DM should allow it. Again, it's really how you run your campaign and how things work with the DM and your player. Some players will come up with some weird things, and it's just they're trying to work around the system. Well, some DMs will also be a total dick and impose all these powerful things upon a person. I think the two should work together with these type of things and find a happy medium. That's what I'd like to do with my players. If they suggest something and it sounds logical, I'll be like, yeah, it's cool. Why don't we just do that? But that is basically what a Wujen is. And tell me how you play Wujens and what you do. What do you do to change them up? Do you, let's see, anything else you do with them? Yeah, pretty much. So with that said, keep it original, keep it old school, and good night, everybody. Don't forget to catch me on twitch.tv/TheEvilDM daily for mostly just playing horror games and having fun with people from rollhigherdie.com. Good night, everybody.